Hey, this is Andy here, and with Libertarian Revolution, and I'm at the Libertarian Party of California State Convention for 2018, where Nickolas Wildstar, who's my guest today, was just endorsed for governor of California as a Libertarian Party candidate. I'll start the question, how did you get into libertarianism and the Libertarian Party?
Well, I got very involved in community activism around 2010 in the Occupy Anonymous movement, and I heard about the In the Fed initiative that Dr. Ron Paul was proposing as a Republican candidate for president. So I heard about his campaign, started to learn more about the Federal Reserve, him wanting to end the occupational wars, bring our troops home, him wanting to end the war on drugs, as well as get government out of our lives. And hearing him say all of that just rang true to my ears and got me very inspired about libertarianism. And he also made a call to action to anybody that was hearing this message to get involved and run for office. So I took heed to that and saw the failure of leadership here in the state of California and chose to get involved as a candidate and run for office to make those policy changes that I had been fighting for as a protester.
Now, didn't you start out as a Democrat?
I did.
Now, was it a little bit hard for you to listen to a Republican? Because you know what I mean? Because a lot of times if you're a Democrat, you don't want to hear a Republican.
Exactly.
And even though Ron Paul's really a libertarian, he was running in the Republican Party. So was that a little bit awkward for you at first?
It was at first because, of course, the Republican stigma as a Democrat, as you pointed out, is you sort of have to turn a deaf ear to anything that they propose. But I was very disappointed by the 2008 presidential candidate and president, Barack Obama, and was immediately looking for an alternative. I still wanted that change that he was proposing during his campaign, and started to hear those same sentiments and desires being resonated from Dr. Ron Paul. So he actually swayed me to vote vote Republican for the first time in my life.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, didn't you run for office as an independent?
I did.
What did you run for?
I ran for governor.
Oh, wow.
I ran for governor in 2014 as an independent candidate. I wasn't able to get the amount of funding that's needed to get onto the ballot, which is almost $4,000. So I ended up running as a write-in candidate and getting about a dozen votes. But now with me running as a libertarian, I'm hoping to turn that double digits into a double-digit percentage and get the majority that's needed in order for me to proceed to the general election in November.
Now, unfortunately, there was a really terrible ballot access law passed here in California in June of 2010 called Top 2 Primary.
Right.
And what that does is it puts all the candidates into the same primary. So you'd be running against Democrats, Republicans, Green Party, etc., and then only the top two move on to the general election.
Yes.
And because of this terrible election law, unfortunately, there's a good chance you won't be on the ballot in November. So are you going to talk about top two, repealing the top two primary at all while you're on the campaign trail?
That is something that I've been letting the people of California know. Is as the first libertarian governor of the state, I would be repealing top two and would implement ranked choice voting, which would give every candidate of the state an opportunity to compete. That means no more old establishment parties dominating the political system, which is what's happening with the top two primary. It's a great possibility that here in the state of California that we could get two Democratic candidates to get the majority in June. And that means come November, those will be the only candidates that we get to choose from. So it's pretty much rigging the electoral system to only benefit one party. And they've done that successfully by getting that bill passed. And that's something that I would repeal as soon as I take office.
And top two primary was supported by both the establishment Democrats and the establishment Republicans.
Exactly.
Now the rank and file Republicans are starting to get mad about it because the last time in the Senate race was Democrat versus Democrat. So are you aware that several months ago, I think it was back around September, October, there was a ballot initiative that came out to repeal top two primary.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, they've reached their 6-month circulating period and did not collect enough signatures. So that initiative is not going to be on the ballot.
Right, exactly.
But would you, in the future, get behind promoting a ballot initiative to repeal top two primary?
Absolutely. During the time that petition was being circulated by Tom Palzer, who's a Republican, a liberty-leaning Republican. I actually heard him speak a few times, met him in person, and he's a great guy. And there are people in the establishment parties that do care about the people of the community. They do want to see a political shift happen where it is more representative of the people that it's supposed to reflect. But unfortunately, since that petition did not pass, you know, we, the people here in the state of California, won't get a chance to vote to have that repealed. But in the future, if he was to promote such an initiative again, I would definitely back it and would continue to as a candidate.
Now, let me ask you, how did you get the name Wildstar? Was that your birth name?
It is.
Oh, seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
Nickolas
There was a Japanese anime cartoon, or you know what I'm talking about? It came out in like the late 70s, early. Yes, and there was a character,
And
Derek
I'm
Wildstar.
actually named after Derek.
Oh,
Wildstar.
seriously? That's a cool name.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
My father, he's actually a big anime fan, and
Oh, okay.
growing up, he saw that Star Blazer animation show and loved the name Wildstar. So when I was born, I was named Nickolas Wildstar.
That's cool. That's cool. Now I understand you're involved in music.
I am.
Can you tell me a little about your musical endeavors?
Absolutely. Well, I'm known as the rap artist Q Ball.
Okay.
My first album, The Real, is available on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon. You can listen to it, play it, of course. And I moved out here from Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the age of 17 to pursue a career in music, and have been here ever since doing so. And one of my songs from that album is in the movie Scary Movie 4, and my new music I've been making available to the public. It's more politically minded and promoting the ideals of liberty, and that album is called Evolve or Die, and it's available for free on SoundCloud. So anybody watching, please go on SoundCloud, listen to my album Evolve or Die. It's also on my YouTube channel. You can listen to it for free. Download it, rip it, share it with a friend. Just help me spread the word. So
do you do much politics though with your music?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, as a rap artist, you're pretty much looked at as being a spokesman of the streets. So dealing with my own personal problems and issues, that was reflected in my first album, and having to battle the entertainment industry. You get into music thinking, you know, it's going to be easy, and because you love music so much, you'll have an opportunity to share it with the world, and that's not necessarily the case. It takes a lot of hard work. There's a lot of bureaucracy involved, and I had to kind of cut through that just to break through. So now my music is more, again, geared towards expressing the ideas of liberty and how we, the people, should make that political shift to make that change to where our society is more reflective of the free country that we live in.
Are you familiar by any chance with Backwards with Eric July? Yeah,
Yes.
I met Eric July. I actually interviewed him. He's on my YouTube channel. Great guy. But yeah, he's kind of a libertarian rapper slash metal, kind of a rap metal hybrid. But anyway, so it's great to see that. Now anyway, I'm going to get into a few issues here. I have long said that libertarians should be more vocal about promoting jury nullification, or more specifically, jury nullification of victimless crimes.
Absolutely.
If we had fair jury trials in this country, we'd have a lot more freedom, and the government would have a difficult time prosecuting people for nonviolent drug offenses and nonviolent gun control offenses and other things that would not be crimes if we had a libertarian society.
Absolutely.
So do you plan to, in your campaign, will you, are you already doing promoting jury nullification to the public?
I am, actually. I just went through an ordeal myself with the courts in Anaheim. I was arrested for fitting the description for a robbery on Martin Luther King Day in 2017, and was arrested, but of course, I didn't commit the crime, and I was released, but not first before getting a ticket issued for resisting arrest. So I had to battle those criminal charges, or else I would have been found guilty of a victimless crime. There was no victim, and me myself, I wasn't resisting arrest because they had no reason to arrest me to begin with. So I actually just wrapped up a jury trial where I was unanimously vindicated by my jurors as not guilty. and of course would have loved to have an opportunity to express to the jurors about their power of nullification, but am muted by the courts from doing so. That can lead you into contempt or possibly even extend your jail time. So it's something that I had to been vocal about, kind of behind closed doors and through my campaign page, etc. But it is something that I'm definitely advocating and supporting out there for people to learn more about jury nullification, as well as exercise that when they are on the jury panel.
Yeah, well, I know firsthand that a lot of those resisting arrest charges are bogus, because I've been falsely arrested twice myself for gathering petition signatures. I was actually getting signatures on petitions in Maryland and in Arkansas to get the Libertarian Party so they could have their candidates on the ballot, and I was falsely arrested both times. Both times the police lied in their report, and one of the things they charged me with was resisting arrest, and it was completely bogus.
It's so vague and open to as many different descriptions as the officer or the district attorney or whoever can come up with, that it defeats the purpose. Any criminal that's committing a crime, of course they're going to resist arrest. They don't want to be arrested.
Yeah.
But any lawful person, any person that's peaceful, they're not going to be doing anything other than wanting to protect themselves and protest against an unlawful arrest. And we should be allowed the freedom to do so.
Yeah, well, it took me a long time, but all the charges got thrown out. They were all totally bogus charges, and it's really disgusting how the police do this.
And
now, law
enforcement.
Yes, law enforcement abuse is a huge issue in this country.
Indeed.
And there's been some really horrific stories around the country, like the thing in Fullerton, California, several years ago. Do you remember that? Where the homeless guy got beat? Yeah, he got beat to death.
Yeah, just recently you had Peter Montine, who was a mentally ill disabled man who was also declared legally blind. He was shot twice in the back by Anaheim police. This definitely needs to stop, and it's sad because a lot of these shootings and abuses by police, a lot of them go unreported.
Yeah.
It's only the ones that get publicized and are looked at as being kind of a campaign hot button, such as with the shooting of Stephon Clark in Sacramento. It's being used as a campaign kind of issue right now to reform police, but the district attorney is also using it to get reelected, and the city officials there are using it as an opportunity to kind of show to the public as to why these laws should exist. The guy was shot over 8 times, or shot 8 times, shot at 20 times for holding a cell phone. They thought he had a gun, and of course they're not going to repeal any laws like the Mulford Act or anything that prevents any lawful citizen from being able to carry a weapon.
Now, interesting that you brought up the Mulford Act. That was actually, isn't that a law that makes it illegal to carry a gun in your car and you have to put it in the trunk or something? And it was signed into law by Ronald Reagan, who was a Republican, supposedly Mr. Conservative. Right. So that just shows you.
And it was also pushed by the NRA.
Yeah, so that just shows you cannot always depend on, a lot of people think Republicans are going to protect your gun rights. That's not always true. Now, there's a real attack in this country going on the right to keep and bear arms. And a lot of the public is divided on that issue. What do you plan to do to promote the right to keep and bear arms? Especially, it's not just preaching to the choir, to the people who already believe in gun rights, but all the people out there who don't believe in gun rights. And I think it's important to educate those people about why the right to keep and bear arms is important. So what are your thoughts on that?
It's not even that. It's more so just making a clear distinction about, to the people that advocate gun control, that you are against guns totally and completely. The people that want to get rid of AR-15s and bump stocks and all these other type of accessories or ways to kind of build a gun, so to speak, they're just against guns in general. You can still do the same amount of damage with a handgun or a shotgun or a rifle that looks less threatening. It's just the ones that are perceived as being a threat that these laws, bureaucratic laws, end up being created to prevent law-abiding citizens from being able to be in possession of these firearms. But the laws that are in place are created for us to be able to protect ourselves. No one should be able to determine if we should or should not be able to do that. That is something that we innately should be able to do as individuals, is protect ourselves from any threat. So I would, as governor, push for constitutional carry. I would do my best to repeal and abolish any type of laws that are on the books, such as the Mulford Act, to get rid of that and allow the people of this state that are abiding by the law, that are having guns to protect their friends or their family or people in their community, to have the lawful right to do so, as well as have it be respected by our law enforcement personnel that are hired to protect them, and the state officials that swear upon the Constitution to protect your constitutional rights. So we need to hold them all accountable and make sure that they're just doing their job and upholding their oath.
Now, there's a growing police state in this country at both the local level and the state and federal level, and with the Department of Homeland Security, and then they're sending all these weapons and armored personnel carriers to police departments.
Right.
And I've seen this all over the country. I do a lot of traveling. I was in a small town in Alabama that had like 10,000 people, and I walked by their municipal government building, and they had an MRAP, one of those armored assault vehicles.
Right.
So there's a growing police state, and I think the police state is going after everybody ultimately.
Absolutely.
But there's been a movement started, Black Lives Matter. Now, do you think that Black Lives Matter, like, that has sort of drifted off into somewhat of a maybe Marxist kind of direction, like mixing, like they took money from George Soros, and so do you think it's been sort of co-opted?
Absolutely. I think the message of Black Lives Matter is what matters the most, which is that we do have an extreme, criminal injustice with our criminal justice system, with them targeting people of color in our communities. And there does needs to be some reform there, especially with the Police Bill of Rights, which is this extra layer of protection that prevents police from being held accountable for their crimes. So that's one of the main reasons why these officers are able to kill with immunity. They should not be allowed to do so, and I would definitely repeal the Police Bill of Rights. But also at the same time, the group itself, they're kind of playing on people's emotions. I myself, as a black man, actually went to a meeting where it was discussed about their platform, and I was thrown out for asking a few questions. And
Wow.
one main question being, with the name Black Lives Matter, won't it be excluding the other people that are not black? You have Hispanic people, you have white people, you have Asian people, you have everybody here in America that see the injustices with our criminal justice system and want to get involved in it also. And I just brought up the simple question about the name being discriminatory, and immediately I was deemed a provocateur.
Wow.
Asked if I was an undercover cop and
Wow.
all of this stuff.
Wow.
I got thrown outside, and the lady started talking to me, and she said, "I can't stand niggas like you." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You know?
Wow.
And this is a black lady speaking to me this way. And she immediately assumed that I was with a white girl and that I was sympathetic of police. I said, actually, I've been abused by police. My wife, who is black, has been abused by police. So we completely understand the abuses that we end up having to engage when it comes to law enforcement doing their job. So we completely understand. We, again, want to create this more unified effort. And even with the Stephon Clark shooting, the Black Lives Matter in Sacramento got involved in that protest, pretty much co-opted that, and was asked to not be involved by the family themselves. They asked the group to no longer be involved in protesting on their behalf. And it's because they have an agenda. That agenda has nothing to do with changing the policies, which is why they don't promote for the people in the community to get involved in the voting process. I went there, and the first question that I asked the people in the audience is, are you registered to vote? the majority of which said no. So with these issues in our community, with these elected officials, the district attorney, the mayor, if you want to hold them accountable, then you have to get registered to vote. You have to vote differently, and that's what it's going to take to ultimately make a permanent change with the system.
Now, there's a guy who's a member of, I have a group I started online, actually. It's called Libertarians for 9/11 Truth. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. And so I don't, yeah. So I'm sure you're, yeah, all right. So I'm glad to hear that you're aware of false flag terrorism, and I don't know if you've looked into San Bernardino, but that was fishy as hell. But anyway, there's a guy who's a member of the group. I know that you were found out about your campaign and was communicating with you. And did he talk to you about the deputism plan? That is the concept of electing a libertarian as sheriff, who then appoints libertarian as deputies, therefore taking over law enforcement in the county.
Absolutely.
And,
and that's one of the main things that I promote as governor, is giving the power of law enforcement back to our sheriff's department. Right now, they're just pretty much looked at as babysitters of the jails, the county jails. We need them to give them back the authority to enforce the law, whether it be upon people of the public or people in the department. They are the ones that need to be held accountable when it comes to policing the police. So if we give our county sheriff's department back the authority to, again, enforce the law, I completely support the idea of there being a libertarian sheriff. They will make sure that the law is being upheld. So wherever you are, if you're watching this, if you have a county sheriff that is running and that is a libertarian, please support that person and or run for the office yourself.
Now, electing a sheriff in Los Angeles County would be extremely difficult because it's a hugely populated county. It's got over 10 million people. But there are some counties in California that are low population county, and it might be realistic to do it there. But unfortunately, I think in these high population counties, you know, we're pretty much screwed on that front.
At this point, we need more people running for office, because with those sheriffs that are running, a lot of them, they've served before, and because of the political clout, they end up keeping their seat, and that's how they end up getting reelected. We have to challenge the system. So if you are out there and you want to get onto the ballot to challenge your sheriff, investigate it, find out what it takes, and then make sure that your name is next to theirs to give the voters, the people in your community, an opportunity to choose.
Now, have you gotten into cryptocurrency at all?
I have.
Okay, and are you accepting donations in cryptocurrency?
I certainly am.
Okay, well, the cryptocurrency is an emerging market, and there's a lot of people that are becoming millionaires off of cryptocurrency, and I think there may be a few cryptocurrency billionaires out there. And the good thing about it is a lot of these people that are into cryptocurrency are libertarian or libertarian leaning.
Right.
So if cryptocurrency, I really think libertarians should really reach out to the cryptocurrency community, and that could be a great way to get campaign donations, because just the fact of the matter is money is the lifeblood of politics, and you're not going to get anywhere. It's hard to get anywhere if you don't have money. Yeah. And so I'm glad to hear that you're reaching out to that community and trying to pull them in and get donations from them and everything. That's fantastic. Now, assuming you don't get elected governor, which we know is a long shot, but we're all rooting for you. Would you run for office in the future? And if so, what would you run for?
Well, I actually have a backup plan, since I am running for governor, and the top 2 June primary is on the 5th. If I'm unable to get through to the November election in June, I do plan on running locally for an office to where I will be able to be on that ballot in November. So that is my plan B. But I do continue to, or do have the plans to continue to run for office and represent the people of the state, and have an opportunity to challenge the system. So I'll most likely continue to run for office as a libertarian, and as a potential governor, I am hoping to have an opportunity to implement some policies where we can make cryptocurrency an alternate currency here in the state and make it competitive, open it up to different competing currencies. So I actually am proposing the idea of creating a cryptocurrency backed by the natural resources of the state, and it would be an opportunity for the people of the state to actually make some money. We can give that money directly to the people, as well as have an opportunity to pay off our debt and maintain our government on a smaller amount of money, since it will be ultimately smaller with me as governor, and it will be free of taxpayers' money. So that way, when you go to a grocery store, if you want to use Federal Reserve notes or Bitcoins or Dash or whatever the case may be, you have an opportunity to use alternate currencies, and that's what we really need, is to be able to have a free market options when it comes to paying for our goods, especially if it's being accepted by those providers. So we just need to put the policies in place to allow that decentralized opportunity for we the people to use whatever money's available. Gold even.
Yeah, gold or silver, yeah.
Gold and silver.
Now, you said you would run for a local office. Do you know what local office you would run for if you were going to do this?
Yes, my plan B is to run for mayor of Anaheim.
Oh, okay. That's where you live, I take it?
Yes,
yeah.
I live in Fullerton right now.
Okay.
And, I would have to move to Anaheim, which I will do if I need to run again as, make my third run for office as mayor. But I'm hoping that my gubernatorial campaign for governor does very well. But in the event that it doesn't, there's currently 2 or 3 Democratic candidates running for mayor of Anaheim. They are city council members and have a very tarnished reputation and are not desired by the people, but they're backed by special interests and have big money backers for them, and unions and special interest groups, etc. So the people of Anaheim don't trust them, and they don't have a libertarian option. So if I'm unable to get into the top 2 for the gubernatorial race, expect to see me on the ballot in November as mayor of Anaheim.
Now, that would be great to run for mayor, but Anaheim is a pretty big city. It's got like over 300,000 people. Do you think you'd have a better chance of getting elected to the city council?
Yes and no. It's still the same difference, but I really feel like with the mayor's race and those 2 candidates that are running for mayor as that are city council members, they pretty much have proven how dysfunctional the Anaheim City Council already is. I mean, they came up with the plan to temporarily assist the over 2,000 homeless people that were out in a riverbed near Anaheim Angel Stadium, and now those people are displaced about the city. They come up with the plan to temporarily place them in hotels, and are scrambling to come up with a permanent solution. The city itself is pretty much ran by Disney, and that needs to change. So the hundreds of millions of dollars that goes into these candidates' campaigns comes from Disney. It's locking in that bureaucratic policies that are preventing more businesses from coming in there. They, for a long time, banned Airbnb from even being
wow.
So the Disney hotel and all of the surrounding hotels can keep a monopolization on, offering people to stay there. So now Airbnb won a lawsuit, and they're able to offer more housing in that area.
Now, I've worked on a lot of campaigns over the years, and actually back in 2008, I was in Pennsylvania, and I worked on the Ron Paul campaign, and I was canvassing districts for Ron Paul, and a district that I canvassed elected 4 Ron Paul delegates, which was the most Ron Paul delegates elected out of any part of Pennsylvania. I think he had 16 of them, 4 of them were from this one district. Now, anyway, so that can show you the power of door-to-door canvassing. Would you, if you run for mayor of Anaheim, would you employ door-to-door canvassing as part of your campaign strategy?
Indeed. I've been doing it myself for my gubernatorial race.
Oh, okay, that's fantastic.
It's been paying off. Yes, I've been touring up and down the state from Nevada County to Alameda to Sacramento to San Bernardino to Orange County to LA County to Ventura County. I've been all over the state. So.
Yeah, because I think if people get a chance to talk to you, especially, you know, there was a candidate that ran in Pennsylvania as a Libertarian. Unfortunately, he didn't make the ballot, but he ran as a write-in for the state Senate. And he came as a write-in candidate. He got like 17% of the vote in a three-way race, which was really phenomenal. And the reason he did so well is because he and a few of his supporters went out and door-to-door canvassed the district, and they had some professional-looking campaign literature printed up, and they carried voter registration forms. Let me get that on camera here. There's your professional-looking campaign literature.
Thank you so much.
And they had voter registration forms for the people who were not registered, because a lot of the people who would vote Libertarian are not registered voters. So I'm just suggesting grab some blank voter registrations with you when you do this. Oh, that's fantastic. That sounds
also,
like you're. Oh, sorry.
Also, what I do with the big stack of voter registration forms, I have a tablet, you know, or my cell phone. And I let people know, hey, if you don't want to take this form and fill it out later, if you want to do it right now, we can go to registertovote.ca.gov.
You can do that online in California if you have a state ID.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah, that's fantastic.
And I've also printed up something called pledge cards. So it's pretty much a perforated form that I'm giving those people that I meet door to door, and it's pretty much just locking them in to vote Wildstar.
That's a great idea. I've seen that used on campaigns. I worked on a campaign in Santa Monica several years back that did that, and they actually won.
Oh, wonderful.
And so,
well, I have thousands of pledge cards, so if you want to help me, I am in need of volunteers to hit the streets and go door to door and throughout the community to introduce my campaign to people. So please visit my website.
That's what I was going to ask you.
2018.com. That's wildstar2018.com. You can email me if you look under contacts. That's my email. It goes straight to me on my cell phone. I will get it. You can hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram now, and just direct message me, contact me, let me know how you'd like to get involved with the campaign, because I am being crowdfunded. I'm not backed by any corporate sponsors or have any big name donors, although I do have Chris Roofer, who's
he's a wealthy libertarian, yes.
Very wealthy libertarian, and he has contributed to my campaign, and I'm very thankful
fantastic.
for that, and has given me an opportunity to get here, where I'm on the ballot. I'm in your voters' books. If you look out there and look in your voting handbook, you will see Nickolas Wildstar. You'll see my candidate statement, and just find out more about me and what I'd like to offer as the next governor of California.
All right, well, thanks a lot, and good luck to you. Appreciate it. All right, take care.